joining us for a discussion on Human Settlements Ministry's budget vote. We're joined by political analyst Professor Ntsikelelo. He's professor at Nelson Mandela University. Good afternoon, Professor. Thank you very much for your time and listening into Parliament with us. Many have been watching this specific budget vote with greater interest, given what the Democratic Alliance had stated, that they would not support it. But before we get to the contents of that budget, which honestly does deserve interrogation, can you just share your views on just the position of the Democratic Alliance to say they will not support the budget, that even before she had tabled it, they had already taken a position that they don't want to hear, even though it must address the housing priorities of the country. They don't want to hear it. She shouldn't be trusted with that amount of money.
I don't think that is a way out of the conflict that is at play between them, namely the ANC and the DA. I think what that does is to escalate this tension, because the ANC says that it will do the same to them. So then the question that begs is, what does that do to the country? It doesn't benefit us as citizens. So if they want to work side by side and promote national interest and promote development, they need to stop being childish. I really think that they are basically punching above their weight by this approach of theirs.
And then to the budget itself, the official opposition got the chance, the Mkhonto weSizwe party, they have rejected the budget, speaking around the issues of real budget declines when we take inflation into account. It's the same thing that the EFF now just spoke of, speaking of if we're seeing an increase nominally, it really means nothing if inflation hasn't been considered. What do you make of just that?
Our problem with regard to the housing policy is bigger than inflation. The problem is that I've been doing some research on the housing policy, and the problem is that if you examine the housing policy covering the period of 1996 until today, you'll realize that it has been greatly influenced by the application of a neoliberalism. In particular, here, that has affected the type of houses that have been built. You know as well as I do that black people have been given smaller houses. That's a fact. That's the first point. The second point is that one of the problems is the issue of special planning. The past is still with us. A lot of black people are still staying far from CBDs.
Work opportunities.
Yes. So those are some of it. Lastly, one of the problems, and this is a new trend now, is that you have disaster management, right? You have climate change. That issue, in my opinion, can be addressed with universities. For instance, academics, they need to address the curriculum design and development of political science, sociology, and public admin, because it doesn't deal with this issue that much. So that they can talk to some of the problems.
Pardon me for interjecting there. So essentially you're saying there's been no consultation with academia. That is also a problem that now MK Party was bringing here around the lack of consultation when formulating such a budget. But they were emphasizing that there's been an exclusion of Amakhosi. But you want somebody that will address the issues of rural development. So most certainly they would speak as an authority when it comes to the needs of people in rural areas.
Yes, that is a very good point. You are raising a very good point. Even though I've got mixed feelings about that, I'll tell you why. Because I don't think that issue arose in good faith, though they've got a point. Why? Because yes, it is true. I agree with that traditional leaders on the ground in villages are more popular than politicians. That is true. But at the same time, normally when politicians raise that issue, they raise it to benefit their own political parties. Because in rural areas, traditional leaders are the ones who give orders to the electorate how they must vote. And this is one of the political dynamics in post-colonial states, because political power comes from the rural section of the population and also urban center. So I'm not sure if that issue arose in good faith.
So most certainly there are a lot of conflicts there. Professor, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. That is political analyst Professor Ntsikelelo from the Nelson Mandela University.